Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking about my favourite TV shows that I've got on Blu-ray and DVD pretty much from my childhood. These are pretty much, not all, but the majority of the shows that I've collected over the years that pretty much epitomise my childhood, pretty much. So that being said, I'm going to get straight into it, talking about the cartoons and TV shows that were part of my childhood growing up. So the first one I've got is the Looney Tunes Complete Golden Collection. Absolutely loved Looney Tunes growing up as a kid. Just thought it was absolutely fantastic. So much fun. Some of the cartoons themselves in this set don't really hold up. They can be considered really offensive. But you are advised at the beginning, you know, they're a product of the times. They were wrong then. They're wrong now. They were wrong then. But please bear that in mind when watching it. But yeah, it's a good collection. It's got a great packaging to it. All the volumes there, really good stuff. So yeah, that is pretty much Looney Tunes. Love the characters. Love Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, all of them. I pretty much really got into them when Space Jam came about. But yeah, I'm glad to own this set. I think it's a fantastic set of cartoons. Well worth checking out. I'm just going to move that to the side and out the way. I'm going to try and do these in order that I remember seeing them from when I was a kid. So the next show I remember watching on Channel 4. This was a show that pretty much came out in the 60s. Absolutely massive. And I remember growing up watching this on Channel 4 when it had its reruns in the early 90s. And that, of course, is the Batman 60s TV show. I won't get too much into this because I've done a full unboxing of this in a separate video. But yeah, absolutely love this show. It's completely in a time capsule on its own. But it's absolutely fantastic. Got this real sort of campy element to it. But it's part of the charm of the show. Really enjoy this TV series. I think it's absolutely fantastic and is just wonderful for what it is. So yeah, really enjoy the 60s Batman TV show. So getting into more shows that sort of came out in the 60s that I remember growing up watching. Some of the Gerry Anderson stuff that sort of reran again in the early 90s and have pretty much been rerunning ever since, to be fair. But this first one is my absolute favourite Gerry Anderson produced show, and it's Captain Scarlett and the Mysterions. I remember absolutely loving this show as a kid. Absolutely fantastic characters in it. The Mysterions themselves are just absolutely terrifying and scared the crap out of me as a kid. That deep booming voice is just so intimidating. Yeah, so it pretty much follows this sort of team, this service called Spectrum. You've got all these great characters like Colonel White, Lieutenant Green, Captain Scarlet, Captain Blue, Captain Ochre, Captain Magenta, Captain Black. Just really good show. I absolutely enjoyed. So I'm hoping to give these a rewatch soon and hoping the show still holds up. So yeah, just absolutely fantastic stuff. So getting into the next Gerry Anderson show. Now, this one is probably one I watched a bit more, but I do prefer Captain Scarlet. And it is, of course, Thunderbirds. Absolutely love the designs of the Thunderbirds themselves in this show. It's sort of following this family of like 5 brothers and their dad that run international rescue, where pretty much when shit goes down, you call these guys to help out. I always remember Thunderbird 4 being my favourite. I just loved the design of that submarine. Thought it was so good. Followed closely by like Thunderbird 2. I mean, that thing was absolutely massive. But yeah, really enjoyed Thunderbirds growing up as a kid. Just remember being just blown away by the puppet work in both the Gerry Anderson shows I watched. But yeah, just absolutely fantastic stuff. Right, so heading into the 80s, that 80s realm now of shows that I watched in the early 90s. Got the complete set of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What can I say about this show? It's absolutely insane. I love it so much. I'm so glad I picked up this turtle van with all the discs in it. I did an unboxing of this in a separate video, so please check that out for more detail if you want to see that. But absolutely fantastic, insane premise that on paper shouldn't work, but it does, and it's just absolutely genius. You know, 4 turtles being raised by a rat, being trained to be ninjas, fighting Shredder and Bebop and Rocksteady and Krang. It's just absolutely insane. But the show itself, so entertaining, never gets boring. Really, really good stuff. So, yeah, absolutely brilliant show. Next sort of TV show I remember watching when I was a kid was the Real Ghostbusters. Again, this is another box set I've done an unboxing for, so you can check that out as well. I watched this show before I even knew about the film. I thought this was the only sort of real Ghostbusters medium that existed. And I absolutely loved the show as a kid. Thought the designs of the ghosts and the monsters were so much fun. I just enjoyed the show so much. But yeah, you can check out, as I said, an unboxing I've done of this. So feel free to check that out if you want to do so. Right, so coming up next, another 80s show that I didn't really watch initially. I bought this show because I was a fan of a sort of spin-off of this show, and I'm yet to watch this box set. I've seen some of it, but not all of it. And it's the Transformers Generation 1 collection. This has pretty much got everything you need for the Generation 1 collection. I love the box set. It looks absolutely awesome. And you get, of course, all the DVDs in there as well. And you get the movie too. So this was just a great little set. I think I got this quite cheap. I think it was about £20 for what it was back in the day. And yeah, I just really love this set. I really need to check out the episodes though and give this show a proper watch that it deserves. But as I say, I'm going to talk about another show later on in the video that was my Transformers growing up. But yeah, I'm glad I picked this up, and I fully plan on someday giving that a proper rewatch that it deserves. Right, so the next show I remember watching when I was a kid from the 80s is, of course, Thundercats. Now, I didn't grow up watching He-Man or G.I. Joe or any of those shows, so you won't be seeing them here, unfortunately. But Thundercats was a show I remember watching when I was very little, like 2 or 3, and I don't remember seeing anything else after that sort of period. So I picked up the DVD a couple of weeks ago, and I fully plan on rewatching these, and I really do hope they hold up. I kind of sort of don't remember that much about the show, but I remember it being prominent in those early years, and it's got one of the greatest intros for a TV show ever, so I'm fully looking forward to giving these a rewatch. But yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff from what I've seen so far. Right, so the next DVDs I've got are a bit of a strange one. So it's the sort of anime of The Wizard of Oz, which I remember watching on Channel 4 back in the day, round about the same time that Crystal Maze was on. Richard O'Brien, fucking great show. But yeah, this is pretty much the only way you can get this on physical media, and it's such a shame because the show has 52 episodes, but these are very heavily edited. It's edited down to sort of 4 90-minute movies. Now, 52 episodes of about half-hour shows, you're losing a lot of footage there, but it's the only way to get them on physical medium. But you can watch the full episodes on YouTube, thank God, which is just absolutely brilliant. So I fully recommend checking the show out that way. It was just such a great interpretation of The Wizard of Oz, and I absolutely enjoyed it. I probably enjoyed it more than the Julie Garland film, which I know that's no mean feat, but the show was just absolutely fantastic. It had one of the best theme tunes narrated, of course, by Margot Kidder. I just thought it was absolutely brilliant, and it was just so fantastic watching it. And every time it came on, I was absolutely glued to the screen. So if you can check out those episodes on YouTube, I fully recommend it. It was just a massively enjoyable show, which doesn't get talked about all that often, which is a shame, but it's fully worth checking out. Right, so sort of heading into the 90s sort of realm now. This is a show which is probably the most 90s show ever, and I remember seeing it on Channel 4 in the mornings, and that is, of course, Saved by the Bell. Yeah, I really loved this show growing up. I thought the theme tune to this show was absolutely immaculate. I loved it so much. It was just so catchy. I probably enjoyed the theme song more than the actual show. But yeah, again, it's sort of a show that I remember seeing back when I was a kid, and I didn't pick it up until now. So I really need to give the show a rewatch and see what it's like. But I just remember it being insanely 90s and just absolutely oozing and dripping with that time period. But I am so interested in giving this a rewatch and seeing what it's like. So yeah, that is Saved by the Bell. So heading into some of the Nickelodeon stuff now that I've got. I remember seeing some of these scattered across pretty much all the channels, like Channel 4, ITV, BBC. So the first one I've got is it's The Real Monsters. Yeah, such a great looking show. I remember catching episodes of this, like after school, Saturday mornings. I'm yet to check out the DVD again, but I really am looking forward to. Same with the next show I've got as well. But yeah, just absolutely fantastic cartoon. Next Nickelodeon show I've got is The Angry Beavers. I remember seeing this on Saturday mornings as well. Really thought the show was quite funny and quite enjoyable, but I really need to it's another show that I need to give a rewatch to. Just absolutely remember it being just so funny. So yeah, that is Angry Beavers. Now the next one I've got is a show I have actually rewatched, and I think this is not only a great cartoon, but I think it's just such an underrated show, and it's Rocko's Modern Life. I sort of remember this being on Channel 4, like after the Big Breakfast, I think it was called. But yeah, it's such a good little show, and it really does hold up. It's just absolutely fantastic. So if you can check out Rocko's Modern Life, fully recommend it. So much fun. Now this next one for me is a recent pickup. I wanted to get this for the video because I remember seeing episodes of this growing up, and I absolutely love this show. And it is, of course, Hey Arnold. You get all 5 seasons in this set and the 2 movies as well. And I'm just so looking forward to remember this. I remember sort of having a love-hate relationship with Helga. Like, does she like Arnold? Well, she obviously likes Arnold, but she's just so mean to him. And it was just really fun to watch. And I really dug the show so much. So I'm so glad that I've picked it up recently on DVD. And I'm looking forward to giving these a rewatch. So just an absolutely fantastic looking set. Right, so the next TV show I've got was an absolute childhood staple of mine. Again, it's a new recent pickup for me that I'm really looking forward to rewatching. It doesn't come with the 3 movies, unfortunately, but that is Rugrats. Yeah, Tommy, Chucky, Phil and Lil, and Angelica. Angelica was an absolute cow in this show. But yeah, it was just a fun show. I remember the movies coming out and them being absolutely massive at the cinema, and just everyone going to see them. It was just absolutely insane. Remember this being on Live and Kicking with like Jamie Theakston and Zoe Ball back in the day. It was just, those days were just absolutely brilliant when you turn on the TV on a Saturday morning to watch, a TV show with absolutely insane stuff going on and with cartoons thrown in the mix as well. And this was one of them. It was just absolutely such a brilliant time. But yeah, absolutely really love Rugrats, and just enjoyed it so much. So I'm really looking forward to giving these a rewatch. Right, so coming up next, I'm going to get more into the 90s now with more shows. So the next two sets I've got are Dinosaurs, seasons 1 and 2, and 3 and 4. I adored this show growing up as a kid. I thought it was just absolutely fantastic. Sort of like the family sitcom, but with dinosaurs. And I absolutely loved it so much. It was just absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love the DVD sets that we get. Just absolutely fantastic. So if we open this one up, oh god, it's just absolutely, yeah, it's brilliant. I just remember the show. I think you can catch these on Disney Plus now. But it was just such a good time and such a good show. Again, sort of remember these being on Channel 4 back in the day in the UK. I'm just so glad to have them on DVD. And it still holds up, in my opinion. It's just absolutely great. It's got some really, really dark stuff. Like that TV show with Timmy, who just keeps getting the shit kicked out of him. It's just absolutely brilliant. So that being said, getting into a show now that I've seen people, they either love or hate this. I absolutely love it. I remember it being on Saturday nights, pretty much like right before Blind Date and Gladiators back in the 90s. And it's Rowan Atkinson in Mr. Bean. I love these episodes. It's such a shame that there's not more of them. I think there's only like 14 or 15 episodes to the series, which when you think about it, that really isn't many. But each one of them's an absolute gem. Some of the ones stick out to me so much, like the Christmas one with the turkey on his head. Just absolutely brilliant. I remember the one of the barbers as well, where he sort of passes himself off as a barber and he ends up disastrously cutting people's hair. The one where he like headbutts the Queen, where he's at the swimming pool on the diving board. There's just so much fun. He goes to see Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh god, it's just so brilliant, and these are so worth checking out. And I probably enjoyed them even more as an adult as well. They're just absolutely fantastic and so much fun. Not for everyone. I know it's not everyone's type of humor, but I really, really enjoyed it. I just think it's so much fun and so fantastic. So that is the Mr. Bean collection. Right, coming up next is pretty much the epitome of Saturday morning TV for me. I absolutely love this show. It's batshit insane now when you think about it. But for me, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was the absolute be-all and end-all of Saturday morning. For me, to be fair, every episode is pretty much exactly the same. Rita Repulsa sends a monster down to Angel Grove. The 60 episodes, she must have attacked the city about at least 60 times. The same plan all the time, but the show is just absolutely hilarious and it is absolutely great and I love it for it. It is so much fun. So this is the first season, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Each one's got about 30 episodes on. The best part of the show, though, was that Green with Evil miniseries. So you initially start off with the 5 core Rangers and then Rita pretty much throws in her own Green Ranger, Tommy. It was just absolutely fantastic. Now, when that happened in the show, shit got real and I was absolutely hooked. Just absolutely fantastic stuff. Missed the Green Ranger so much. He was probably the best looking Ranger as well. But for me, Power Rangers, absolutely brilliant. Bulk and Skull, comedy geniuses in my opinion. Just absolutely fantastic stuff. Also got season 2 as well. A bit short now. Obviously, Green Ranger lost his power, came back as the White Ranger. Not as good in my opinion, but hey ho, it is what it is. But still enjoy it. The first season's really the only one worth watching in my opinion, but yeah, it's fantastic. Still great entertainment stuff. Next up, got season 3 where the show sort of went all ninja, I guess. But yeah, it went a bit silly towards the end. But yeah, I sort of checked out after Zeo. And then, of course, you've got the Alien Rangers of pretty much Aquitar, which sort of bridged that that passing into the Zeo era. So these are like the final 10 episodes of Power Rangers. I do have Zeo, but I've misplaced it, so I'm trying to... I need to relocate it and find it. So yeah, Power Rangers, absolutely brilliant stuff. Then, of course, going into the Steven Spielberg produced cartoons now. This is one that I'm what I believe to be the earliest one, but I'm sort of trying to collect these ones. And it's Tiny Toon Adventures. Just absolutely hilarious. I love the quick wit, and the animation is just absolutely brilliant with Tiny Toons. So I'm looking forward to giving these a rewatch. Just absolutely fantastic stuff in my opinion, and looking forward to collecting the rest of the series as well. Next up, another Steven Spielberg produced series, and it's Animaniacs. I absolutely loved this show growing up as a kid. Thought it was just absolutely brilliant. So for me, pretty much I remember Saturday mornings getting up, watching Scratchy & Co., and this show was on with Mark Spate, who I absolutely miss. He was just an absolutely fantastic talent. Absolute tragedy what happened there. But if anyone remembers Scratchy & Co., let me know down below, because that show was absolutely insane. It showed this and Batman the Animated Series. And yeah, Animaniacs was just so brilliant. So we've got the first volume here. I love this show so much. I was so glad to see it get a comeback last year, which I still haven't seen yet. But the original Animaniacs for me is just brilliant. The humour in this, the songs are absolutely fantastic. The show was just absolute genius. One of the greatest intros as well. I know I'm going to say that for a lot of these kids for these shows, but it was just so entertaining. I'm so glad to have this set. Some of the jokes in these as well, absolutely risky as hell. Particularly that fingerprints one. If anyone remembers that, my word, how did they get that past the censors? And I know the creators of the show sort of were asking themselves that as well. It's got Volume 2 as well. Volume 3. And finally, Volume 4 as well. But yeah, if anyone remembers Animaniacs, let me know. It was just such a genius show. Right, so coming up next, sort of like a spin-off to Animaniacs. These were like two of the most popular characters. Pinky and the Brain. So I've got all 3 volumes of this show. Absolutely insane. Yeah, just no pun intended, but it shouldn't work. Again, another fantastic TV show intro. That Pinky and the Brain song, just absolutely brilliant. I love these sets as well. Just so much work has gone into them. Some of the Steven Spielberg cartoons were just absolutely brilliant. But yeah, pretty much as the song suggests, one's a genius and the other's insane, and yet they just get along so well, and it's just absolutely brilliant. So yeah, we've got Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3 as well. It's just a brilliant show. I feel like rewatching these. Next up, we've probably got the lesser known one, and that is, of course, Freakazoid. If anyone remembers this show, please let me know in the comments. I loved this show. I remember seeing it, coming home from school, whacking on ITV, and it was on, and I was just blown away by the insanity of this show. And I'm going to say it again, one of the best intros ever. It's so underrated and so insane, and it's one of the funniest things I've seen. It still cracks me up with the chimpanzee. Oh, it's just absolutely genius. Very, very underrated animated show, in my opinion. And more people need to talk about this. It's just absolutely brilliant. We only got 2 seasons of it. Not that many episodes, but what we got, it's absolute genius. Right, so coming up next, coming into more of the Disney reign now. I think this was sort of Disney's response to Batman the Animated Series. So we've got the first 2 seasons of Gargoyles. I absolutely loved the dark tone that this show had. I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. It pretty much follows this sort of clan of gargoyles who they don't really have names, They're led by Goliath, but the rest of them sort of get their names later on. And they're sort of cursed to be in New York. And it's just such a great show. Some of the storylines are just absolutely brilliant. I remember having the VHS of the first 5 episodes, which they sort of edited into one movie. And it was just absolutely great, and I just enjoyed it so much. But again, it's such a great dark show. So we've got season 2, volume 1 and 2. I don't think they released season 3 on DVD, but the first 2 seasons are just absolutely great, particularly that first one. So fully recommend checking out Gargoyles. It might be on Disney Plus, I think. I'm not sure. But it was such a great show. So next, another early 90s show for me, and again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, one of the best opening themes ever. The X-Men 90s cartoon. Absolutely brilliant, stellar stuff. I love the artwork on this box set too. Just absolutely fantastic. And on the back as well. Got Rogue, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Juggernaut, and Omega Red. Yeah, just absolutely brilliant show. The opening theme itself, you get the chills, don't you, when you just think of that theme. Absolutely brilliant. One of the best shows as well, in my opinion, to deal with prejudice and sort of hate crimes as well. Just so good. Remember this being on Live and Kicking as well, just on a Saturday morning. I used to get pissed off when Mum and Dad would say, "Come on, we're going into town now." And I'm like, "No, I want to finish watching X-Men." But yeah, it was so good. So good. Such a great show. We got some great movies too out of it. The live action ones, that is. So sort of like the spin-off of that, which came out sort of like 2 years later. You could tell this show had a lot more higher budget in terms of its animation. And that is, of course, the 1994 SpiderMan. So we've got all 65 episodes. I loved and adored this show. I'm not going to say this is one of the greatest themes, though. It is still good, but it just didn't stand out to me like the show did itself. Some of the greatest Spider-Man villains as well brought to the screen in this. I just enjoy it so much. Such a great looking show. Absolutely fantastic. One of the best final episodes as well for a TV show ever, in my opinion. We won't dare spoil what happens, but yeah, just absolutely fantastic. Remember this being on like on a Friday after school. I'm getting pumped to watch Spider-Man. Yeah, just absolutely brilliant. Great show. Right, so getting into, again, some more of the 90s stuff. This next one is my favourite TV show of all time, and I think it holds up so well. I mentioned it earlier, it was on Scratchy & Co, and that's how I remember watching it. It was also on after school as well on CITV, and I love this show so much. It's my favourite TV show of all time, and it's Batman the Animated Series on Blu-ray. I did an unboxing of this, so if you want to check out that, for me to hear more about it there, please do so. But yeah, this show still holds up almost 30 years on, and it's so good. The storylines in it, absolutely brilliant. The setting, superb, sort of this neo-noir look to it. Like again, it's got like a sort of 90s 30s crime look to it. And yet it still sort of has like modern technology in it as well. It's just so crazy, and yet it works so well. And the series just looks absolutely brilliant. So good. So if you can pick this up, I fully recommend it, and I don't think you'll be disappointed with it at all. Just such a great looking show. Absolutely brilliant. Along with Power Rangers, for me, 2 of the most Saturday morning staple TV shows ever. Next up, got like the sort of, again, there's a few spin-off series to do with Batman the Animated Series, and these shows are still good. I just don't think they captured that magic of the original show. So we've got Superman the Animated Series as well. I remember this being on Sundays, and still had a good time with it. Still think it was pretty good. But Not as good as BTAS. But this sort of elaborated more on the character for me. We got to sort of see more villains as well from like the Superman Rogues gallery, like Lex Luthor, Parasite, Livewire, Metallo, Brainiac, Dark as well. The build up to Darkseid in this series was so good as well. It was just absolutely brilliant. But yeah, if fully recommend checking out Superman the animated series. It's got a great opening as well with the destruction of Krypton, and I just had a fantastic time with it. It's Batman the animated series will always be like the number one for me, but these shows are still nothing to turn your nose up at. They're still absolutely great. Right, so coming up next is this series is probably my second favourite in terms of the DC animated stuff after Batman the animated series, and it is the first 2 seasons of Justice League. These for me are better than any Justice League movie we have ever got. They're better than the Snyder Cut in my opinion. I just love this series so much, and I think it is just absolutely brilliant. I can't really say a bad thing about it, but some of the episodes in this just absolutely fantastic. The one that sticks out to me from season 1 is the 2-part Legends. That has one of the most best twists I've ever seen in a show. It was just so satisfying and had a great setting to it as well. Star-Crossed as well, the season 2 finale. My word, does that feel epic when Hawkgirl turns against the rest of the Justice League. It's just absolutely fantastic stuff. I fully recommend check it out. Season 1 and 2 of Justice League. It's just such a good time. I don't think you'll be disappointed with it. Just absolutely brilliant. So next up, we've got Justice League Unlimited, Season 1 and 2 as well. Now, these for me weren't as good as Justice League because we just got thrown into the mix with too many characters, in my opinion. And each episode sort of focused on a different character. Still good, but just didn't capture that magic for me. I really need to rewatch these as well, sort of see if my opinions changed over the years. But yeah, it's still a good looking show, but just didn't capture that magic for me. And the sort of the final sort of set of series I've got from the DC animated stuff is Batman Beyond. Yeah, this is probably on the par with me with Justice League. I think this show is absolutely great. Sort of sees Terry McGinnis taking the mantle of Batman, with Bruce Wayne being like more of a mentor. And yeah, it's just such a great show. Absolutely great setting as well, setting the futuristic as well. This futuristic look to it. I love this show so much. I think it's just absolutely brilliant, and it's probably a really good underrated show as well, in my opinion. Just enjoy it so much. So yeah, as I said about Batman Beyond, I remember it sort of being on this show called this channel called Toonami as well. And this next show I remember seeing but not really following. So I picked it up on Blu-ray not too long ago, a couple of days ago actually. So I'm looking forward to giving it a rewatch. And it is Samurai Jack. I remember the animation in this being absolutely stellar. I don't remember much of the story, unfortunately, which is why I've picked it up, and I'm hopefully going to give this a rewatch. Picked it up on Blu-ray as well, so I'm hoping it looks stellar on the big screen. So I'm looking forward to giving this a rewatch as well. So that's Samurai Jack. Next show as well, sort of when Batman and Power Rangers sort of came off on Saturday mornings. This next show, this was the Transformers for me growing up. When I was a kid, I adore this show so much, and it has such a massive place in my heart. I love it so much. And it is Beast Wars. Got the 15th anniversary set here. Gorgeous sort of metallic silver packaging to it as well. And we got Optimus Primal on the front. So good. So this is the complete series. We get seasons 1 and 2 and 3. I just love this show so much. It was just absolutely brilliant. That first season in particular is just so good. But the best episode, in my opinion, came from season 2, and that's Code of Hero, which I won't dare talk about because there's a massive spoiler in it. But yeah, it's just absolutely fantastic. Fantastic looking show. We also get a comic and an episode guide as well. The comic sort of deals with what happened right before the 2 ships from the Predacons and Maximals crashed with the golden discs. But yeah, I just think this show is just absolutely fantastic. Love the designs. So good. But as I said, that first season was pretty much immaculate. Just absolutely fantastic looking show. So yeah, that is Beast Wars. So next up is a show I used to watch as well on Saturday mornings when Ant and Dec were hosting SMTV Live. And that is, of course, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Yep, I thought I'd pick this up off Amazon. It was going quite cheap, so I just remember it being on, and I was like, you know what, I'll give that show a rewatch. And it is pretty good. The first couple of seasons are really great, but the quality of the show sort of diminished a little bit towards those last couple of seasons. But yeah, I remember this being on after another show, which I will talk about as well in a minute, which it was just so good. It's just such a great time. I remember this as well being on like right before Baywatch as well, like in the evenings on a Saturday night, and yeah, it was just such a great time as well. But yeah, great little show. So next up, this show was pretty much came with a massive bang when it arrived. This was what I got up for on Saturday mornings for as well, just to watch this show, and I loved it so much. And that is, of course, Pokemon, the Indigo League. Now, this is the most complete version of the series that I could find. It's not every episode, but we do get a large amount with it. We get 78 episodes with it. I believe the Polygon episode was pretty much banned because it sent a lot of people into having like epileptic fits. But yeah, I'm going to say this as well about this show. One of the best intros ever to a show. Absolutely fantastic. That theme song was just so good. But yeah, as I said, SMTV Live, this was on, and I would be there religiously watching it with whatever crap cereal I was eating. But yeah, absolutely lived for this show. Thought it was just so good and just like one of the best animes in my opinion. Just absolutely fantastic. Remember collecting the cards as well. You going into school on Monday and trading them, and it would just be absolutely insane. But yeah, as I said, this is the most complete version of the show that I could find. I don't regret picking it up at all. The only issue I would say with this show is when you binge watch it, prepare yourself for that Team Rocket song to get on your fucking tits, because it will. Just absolutely great. So much. I can watch that opening theme so many times, it never gets old, but the Team Rocket song, whenever they turn up, you want to shoot yourself in the face. It's just that annoying. But yeah. So that was the Indigo League. I also have the Adventures in Orange Islands, which was the sort of the sequel series, which was still pretty good. It picks up exactly where the Indigo League leaves off. But it sort of sees Brock leave for a little bit. And yeah, the intro was just never as good. It would never ever compare to that first season from the Indigo League. But yeah, still a good follow on in my opinion. But yeah, absolute great nostalgic show. And I love the series. I think it's brilliant. Right, so coming up next is, well, pretty much a show that I think everyone on the planet Earth has seen an episode for. and that is The Simpsons. I have the first season here. I do have season 1 to 19 on DVD, but I just thought for time's sake I'll just bring in the first season and talk about my memories of this. So pretty much The Simpsons was something you would watch after school, 6 o'clock, BBC Two. And what I find memorable, not just about The Simpsons, because it was such a fantastic show with a lot of quality, particularly those first 8 and 9 seasons, but it was the shows you would watch after it as well on BBC Two. There were just so many great ones like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Malcolm in the Middle, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and of course you could forget Robot Wars. It was just absolutely a really, really good time, and you would just live for that after school. Like, right, I've come home, I'm going to watch Simpsons, and then watch whatever was on after it. It was just such a good time. And then, of course, Simpsons moved to Channel 4. Well, yeah, such a great show, particularly those early ones, though. Those early ones were just absolutely brilliant. You can't beat classic Simpsons, in my opinion. So, yeah, that was just my memories of that show. So, yeah, speaking of pretty much shows on BBC Two that were just, again, absolutely insane. Also got the 5 seasons of Ren and Stimpy. So we've got the first and second seasons, season 3.5-ish, and season 5, and some more of 4. But yeah, this is a show I haven't rewatched yet at all, but I just remember it being on and the animation in it being absolutely insane and just absolutely hysterical for what it is. I'm just really, really looking forward to giving these a rewatch, and I'm hoping it's as insane as I remember it. But yeah, just absolutely fantastic. I sort of remember this being on the same time as The Adventures of Lois and Clark as well, which is another box set I have. The Superman series. But yeah, I really hope when giving this a rewatch, I hope it's as insane as I remember it as well. So yeah, that is Ren and Stimpy. And the last box that I've got from the 90s that I remember watching, based on the R.L. Stine books, is Goosebumps. Again, this is another show I really need to give a rewatch to. I remember picking it up, but I've not rewatched it yet. And I just remember some of these really creeping me out as a kid. They were just sort of fun and scary little tales with these really creepy twists that I remember. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to remembering out. I sort of remember the Werewolf of Fever Swamp, and Welcome to Dead House, and Night of the Living Dummy, and Night in Terror Tower. Yeah, just some really, really good creepy little tales that I'm looking forward to giving a rewatch. So yeah, I really, really need to do that soon. I'm sure I'll have a good time with that. So that brings me to the end of my sort of retro nostalgic childhood TV shows that I watched when I was a kid. So I'll move these out the way and sort of try and get everything in frame with what I've talked about. So it's just absolutely insane at the minute, but these are pretty much all the shows that I watched when I was a kid. Not all of them. There are some shows that I did see as a kid that I would love to see come out on DVD. Shows like Kenan and Kel. I would love a Nickelodeon release of that. I'd buy that tomorrow if it came out. But yeah, these are just some of the shows from the 80s and 90s that I really, really enjoyed growing up as a kid. So I'll just say, if you're new to the channel and you've enjoyed this video, please think about hitting the subscribe button. And leave your comments down below about TV shows that you watched when you were a kid. And do you have any on DVD or Blu-ray? And do you still watch them? And yeah, I'll leave the video there and say thanks very much. Stay safe and take care. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.